All right, so we're ready to rock and roll and keep this motor going. We're gonna go ahead and start getting the crankshaft in, and new bearings, getting all the rods, pistons, rings, and everything put back in this. So we're gonna get started by cleaning out the rest of those cylinder walls, getting all that crap cleaned out, and then we will start assembling this motor. I am very excited. We'll see how far we get tonight, and yeah, just hang out. So get ready to put the crankshaft inside of the motor. Got a couple new fresh bearings in there. Looks great. Love the look. There's my thrust bearing. Got the new rear main seal on. It's gonna sit right back there. Everything's looking really nice. Here are some of the old bearings. Definitely tell they got some wear on them. Definitely seen some better days, so I'm glad we are definitely doing this. Man, whew, definitely tell those needed replaced. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna take some of the oil I got here. It's not 5W, but that Say30 will still work. Give me a little lube when she starts up for the first time. I don't want it to start dry because that'll cause more damage. So we'll put a little lube in there. We'll slap this in there. Basically what I'm doing is I'm going to leave everything nice and loose. I'm not going to torque it until this thing is fully put together. Once this thing's fully put together, I'll torque everything down to spec. That'll make it a little easier when I'm trying to move it around, attach new stuff. Yeah. All right, let's get to it. So, I want to talk about something real quick. Hoping you guys can see it. Come on, camera. Little notch there. Come on, get better. Little notch right there. Little notches on your bearings is what keeps that bearing from moving and rotating as your engine is going around. Let's see if I can get it. Let's see if I can get it. There we are. That's better. There's that notch. There's a notch on both of these. Got a notch here and a notch inside that motor. Both these notches need to line up. So if the notch is here, you'll take the notch from your cap and make sure they both align like this. Let's see if we can get it here. Just like that. Then it go like this. That's what it should look like. You can see where the old notch, yeah, you can't see that, can you? No, you can't. Yeah. Ah, man. There we go. You can see where this notch is and where the old notch hits. Well, vice versa. So those two notches need to go together. Just like that. Just like your thrust bearing, if you ever take your motor apart and are trying to figure out where things go, remember how things come apart. That thrust bearing has to go back in the exact same spot. You try to put it somewhere else, it's a thrust bearing for a reason. Put it right back in the right spot. Yeah. One thing I did forget to do on these rear caps, before you put that on, make sure you get this all cleaned up here, underneath here a bit, and same thing over here. This guy here on the edge, right where she sits, needs a little gasket maker. So make sure before you put this thing back together, you clean it up, and get some gasket maker on that thing. That would have been a pain in the butt down the road. So, just a nice little heads up. Well, I got some kind of bad news. These rods will not come out. I tried, took my sledgehammer, and I beat the crap out of it. It would not come out. Another bad thing, another more bad news. You can't order them. It's 2005. I stopped making parts for this a while ago. So I can't order rods either. So yay me, we're going to use the old rods. I don't think that'd be too big of a problem. I was hoping, or not the old rods, the old piston heads. Sorry. I have new ones over there in a box I was hoping to use. Nice and pretty, already cleaned up. Unfortunately, I will not be able to. So we're going to clean these up and reuse them. If you're doing this car, you're doing this type of motor, don't buy new ones. If you can't get that rod out, it's pointless anyway, because yeah, I couldn't find these online. And I am sure not going to pay $700-800 for 4 rods. So we're going to do that. I'm going to clean these guys up. If you decide to clean these up and salvage these, there's little tiny holes in there. So I can get better close up here. Little tiny holes. Now, what you need to do is take something like my little tool here, something like that, or a straight one, and you go in. And we're going to clean those little holes out to make sure their oil flows through there like it's supposed to. So one good thing you can do, put it in your bucket of gasoline, and what I do is I dip it, and all your gasoline inside there should come rushing out. If it doesn't, it's still clogged. Clean it some more. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll get these 4 cleaned up, and then I'll start recording again. We'll get the rings on there. We'll get them positioned right and get these pistons in this engine. Whew. Just going to go over real quick. I'm cleaning these guys out. Obviously, taking my rings here. Pop these out. These out of the way, because we're going to put some new rings on her. There is a tool I'm going to use when we go to reinstall the rings. You don't want to try to do that by hand, because you will most likely break them. And it sucks if you break a ring. You got to buy a whole new set for 1 ring. So I'll show you this little tool I got. Little ring installer. Makes it so much easier to put these back on. And it's yours, you won't break one. And that's always nice. Alright, let's see. Finally that connects. There we are. That came apart nicely. Okay. Get some of that crap off there at the top. Obviously, years and years. And from burning oil. That's where a lot of that's coming from. I'll show you guys here. I know it's burning oil. This is from the motor that I pulled from the junkyard. And this is from the motor that threw the rod in. You can tell the difference in the cleanliness of it. One's pretty screwed up and one doesn't look half bad at all. So that definitely had some oil ring issues, and that's probably why they trashed the car. So woo! That's a good sign for us. So I'll take my little drill here. I'm just going to clean off the very top of this. And I'm not going to hit the sides. I'm going to scratch none of that up. Just hit the top of that, get some of that corrosion off. There we go. She ain't perfect, but she's a lot better. Get some all that junk off, not corrosion, but you know, all the buildup deposit. So yeah, now we will take my little guy here. I'm gonna stick it all inside those little holes. Make sure ain't nothing blocking the path this way. Get it all nice and clean. Just like that. I'm gonna check my oil rings, the holes for them, and make sure there ain't no big junk or crud sitting in there. Just like that. Kind of kick it out of the way. Make sure the new rings can operate like they're supposed to. Pretty simple. It's looking pretty good. I don't see anything else. Okay. And again, if you take a wire brush to clean these, just do the top. Don't do the sides. You don't want no scratches or nothing on top of that. Little scratch inside here really ain't gonna matter. Put inside my little can of gas. Swish it around. Try to get it all nice cleaned up and pretty. That's exactly what I want here. Those little holes are nice and cleaned out. It's operating like it should. I'll take my rag and just clean her up. Go. That looks so much better. Get the old, that's still, yep, that's still in there. Pop that guy out. There we go. Get that all cleaned up. Get a new bearing here anyway. There we go. All right. Those folder guys are all cleaned up. That was simple. That was quick. And here's the difference. You can really see the one on the left. It's really clean, really nice. That didn't have ring issues. The other three obviously did, coming from the junkyard motor. So, with that being said, I'm sure that's why they took it in, because it was smoking like crazy. Thankfully, that was the only reason. So, everything else was good on this. Good news for us, bad news for them. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and get my other tools, and then we will put the ring back on. Putting the rings on. The new rings. Then I'll show you my tool to put those rings on. Don't put rings on without that tool. Oil rings are a little more flexible. I still try to use a tool, but then again, that's just the oil rings. Compression rings, a little stronger, more easily to break. So we'll go ahead and get started on that, and we'll get these things inside here. Alright guys, we are ready to do some piston rings. So, I got them set up on the ground the way I want them to go on the piston. Oil rings first, second compression first. This nice little tool I was telling you about to install your rings. Makes it really nice and really, really easy. All you do is slide that ring there in its opening, right inside here, right where that meets. And you just open it. Just like that. Helps to make sure you're not going to break that ring as you're installing it. Makes your life a little bit easier. So we'll install these. I'm not going to worry too much about placement right away. I'll worry about that when I stick them inside the engine. I will worry about a little bit more with the oil rings, because the opening here, you don't want to match the opening on your rings. Obviously, that would allow oil to slip through and you'll start burning oil again. So make sure if you're ever putting these in, you remember where this opening is. A little hard to see when she's in there and compressed together, but not too hard to figure out where it's at if you have to remember where you put it. So that's what we'll do here. I'm going to start putting all this in, and we'll put these guys into the motor. Just kind of get you guys a little close up here of these oil rings. Come on, camera. There we go. That's what it should look like when she's together with all of the 3 oil rings. All nice and spaced like that. You see me not use my tool with the oil rings. They're a little bit thinner. I'm not too worried about those breaking, and it actually makes it quite harder with that, trying to put those in. So sometimes doing it by hand without your gloves will make it a little bit easier. And the second of the rings I'm going to put on, come on, light. There's a little lip right here. Probably can't see it. Let's get that light. Anyway, I think I got a flashlight. Hopefully that'll help. You can see right in here, she's got a little lip. That lip on the secondary ring needs to be facing down. So, lip's right here. I'm going to rotate it, and it should go on there just like that. That lip facing down. Obviously, you've seen I didn't use this. I think I might have used it for something I shouldn't have. It did not work like I wanted it to. Either that or it was a really cheap tool. If you have to, you can't do it by hand. I'm just going to tell you, be extremely careful. They do break. I actually broke one of them, taking them off and apart. So watch that. Try to pay attention. You find a good ring installing tool if you can. That makes it easier. Other than that, we'll go ahead and start getting these guys, getting them in. We're about there to, thankfully we're getting there. So we're going to make this putting the pistons in a really quick video. My battery is dying on my phone, so I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to install these on one of them, and then I'll just throw it all in there. Unfortunately, I have to use my phone for a camera. Taking donations for cameras. if anybody wants to give me one. Other than that, yeah, we'll get this piston in there. I'll shove the rest of them in there without being on footage, unfortunately. And then I'll see where we're at from there. All right, so we got everything prepped up. Got new bearings on everything here. Everything's ready to go and ready to go in. So, one of the things you will need, compression ring. Nice little tool here you can buy, again, at Harbor Freight. I swear it's like my favorite store. Grab that so you can compress the rings and just kind of slide that right in. I'm going to go ahead and get this ready. I'm going to get my ring set the way I want it set. I will then compress those rings and then put a little oil in the bearing and we'll slide it right in. So let's go ahead and get started on that, and I'll show you guys how to put a piston in. All right, I got my ring set up the way I want it to go. I got it in my hand how it's going to go in the piston. So my rings need to be opposite of each other. Obviously, that hole there was lined up with the other one. You want to get good compression. So we're going to line them up the way I like it, and the way they should be, just like that. I'm going to take this guy here, slide it on, and we'll just tighten it up. So I try to hold everything still here. Make sure she's good and compressed. Looks pretty good to me. And maybe not so much. See if I can go a little bit tighter. That should work. Nice and tight. All the springs are compressed. Should be able to slow this guy right in. So before I do, I'm going to take a little bit of my lube. Get some lube on that bearing, so I don't have to worry about it once it's in. A little bit there, maybe a little bit in that hole in that pocket. Okay, maybe a little bit in there for sliding purposes. You can go ahead and do this too. It's probably gonna, I mean, it will smoke a little bit when you first start it, but I'd rather have it protected. Get a little bit more in there. Like a nice lube system. Okay. I think that's pretty good. Good lube in there. Make sure I got it the way I need it to be. On this guy here, you're not going to be able to see it. Let me grab another piston. There's actually two different sizes here. One's bigger than the other here for your valves. My bigger side needs to go towards my exhaust. Make sure you pay attention to that if you're taking apart your motor. So I'll slide it in here, just like so. Make sure she's sitting the way I like it. I'm going to take something that has wood on the end of it, one of my little hammers with a little wood on the end there. Don't use the metal. And just tap it in. There goes the new bearing. Looks like I'm getting stuck on something that could be. I guess. Oh no, she's actually kind of sort of going. you have to try to retighten it a little bit. You might have a piston in there that's not wanting to cooperate. Ring. All right. Ta-da! She's in. And that's how you put pistons in there. Piston rings. If you do buy one of these, one thing I will tell you, when you go to loosen it up, use this guy. This might catch you off guard if you hit it and it expands fast and like crazy. It'll destroy your tool. So make sure when you release your ring compressor, you do it with the tool. So that's how you install the piston with the ring and all that good jazz. So I'll get that bearing back in there. I'm gonna hook it up on the other end. Ugh. Take one of these guys, make sure again your notches line up, and then we'll get the rest of this back together. We are getting closer and closer. All right, I will pause this for now. I'll get back to you guys when I get the other 4 in. And we got all the cylinders in there. Yay, they're all in. Woohoo! All new rings, all new stuff. That's all in. Excited. Those are in. Good to go. Whew. It's been a long night. Here's the other side. Everything's connected. Everything's pretty much just hand tight at the moment. I get the torque specs and torque everything down. That'll make it, obviously, yeah. I'm so tired, I'm sorry. Yeah, get torque specs, we'll torque that down. That'll be ready, and then we'll get the engine, the cylinder head, oh man, prepped up and ready to go. That's not far. I don't think I'm going to do way too much to it besides clean it. Might throw some new valve stems in there. Might end up doing that tomorrow night. Like I say, I am a little pressed for time, so might be a late couple nights, and then we'll get this engine ready to go, hopefully by this weekend. Possibly. Thanks for staying tuned, guys. Hopefully catch you guys next time, and we'll get this thing done. All right. Thanks, guys.